they are citing, when they are citing cases, they have to cite the source where that case came from or whatever they are referring to. So we cite for consistency and to be persuasive in our argument. And the last on my screen, it's not the last. There are so many reasons why we cite, but the last on these major ones is to avoid plagiarism. So if you do your work and you don't put any source, the supervisor will flag your work and then say this work is lifted from or copy pasted from sources we don't know. So it won't go anywhere until you do citing. Now, we have quite a number of tools that can be used. One of them that we are going to discuss today is Zotero. Zotero is free. You can actually be able to download it to your computer and be able to use it. The very standard. Standard means you can do a lot of things free of charge, but of course somebody can actually upgrade. That's the same way all of us has Gmail. All of us have Gmail account. It's free, but if you get a certain limit and you want more capacity, for example, you have to pay. Zotero works the same way. Now, Zotero's design is a further improvement of the early software that used to be there, which is still there, called Mendeley. Mendeley is equally free, but Zotero looked at Mendeley and tried to improve its features, try to make it more friendly, try to design a very friendly user interface. So it's actually a further improvement of Mendeley. People ask, if I have Mendeley, do I need to use Zotero? If you have Mendeley, you are comfortable with it and it can do all it can do, use it. Zotero improves on that. So if you have no idea how Mendeley works, you might find it easier learning Zotero than Mendeley because of the way it's designed and even the way it works. Very user-friendly. I've interacted with both. I would prefer Zotero, but that is subjective because some people have a different opinion. So Zotero and Mendeley are free, but we also have other citation referencing that are subscription-based, such as Reference Manager, EndNote, RefWork, and ProCite. They can do more than what Zotero and Mendeley can do. They have additional features. They can, they have so much additional features, but you have to pay for them. So we are insisting that Zotero can do the very basics and do much of work that these other ones can do. But of course, if you want additional features, you can pay for Zotero Premium. So Zotero here is a free version, and you can see the third item here, it works with quite a number of operating systems. They are also coming up with a mobile app for Zotero. I tried to download it, but it's kind of somebody's talking, please unmute. They tried to come up with a mobile app for Zotero. Last time I tried, it was quite unstable. And when I went to the online forum for Zotero, I found had some little misgiving about it, but it has not stabilized. It had some challenges. So it was at the trial level. If you have tried and you have it on your phone and it's working, just know that probably those are the recent improvements done. It gives you 300 MBs of online storage where you can be able to store your data to facilitate syncing. 300 MB might look very little because people are used to talking about GBs. You see, MBs are sufficient enough if you are talking about PDF. Remember, PDF is highly compressed. So if only documents, that's enough. But if you're using videos, audios, of course, you know they swallow a lot of this space. So Zotero gives you that free, but you can see Mendeley gives you more. Mendeley gives you a free version of 2 GB online, but you can be very sure it will take you ages even before you get to half of that. That's what we can talk about that in comparison. Most of them work with the they work with the Mac operating systems and even Linux. And maybe we shall see shortly how that works. Sorry. So what is Zotero? Zotero is a free online tool that will help you to connect, organize, cite, and share your research sources. We will see shortly. So you can use it to get materials from different sources within your Zotero library, organize it well within your library to make it easier for you to retrieve or even navigate through. It will also help you to cite within your documents, your Word documents. Zotero works with my MS Word citing, we shall see momentarily. And you can also share your sources, your research process with others, or even be able to share, to save online, to sync online, so that you can share across different platforms or devices, or even you can even be able to share across groups. So it's designed to store, manage, and cite bibliographic references, such as books and articles. Now, so I think it's not here, but let me talk about what are the requirements. What do you require to be able to start using Zotero? You require 3 things. You require an operating system. Zotero works very well with Windows. It works very well with Mac operating system and works well with Linux. That's what you require. So you require that operating system. And then you require a browser. We know something about, browsers, Firefox, Mozilla Firefox. We know something about Chrome. We know something about Microsoft Edge. All those are browsers. So you require any of those browsers, but Zotero doesn't work with Explorer. Explorer is quite very basic, not so advanced in its features to be able to integrate well with Zotero. So with Explorer, if you have your Explorer in your machine, you need, you can download Firefox, it's free. You can download Chrome, it's free. So they work very well with that. For those who are having a Mac, I would persuade you to if you're having Mac, if you're having a Mac operating system, I would persuade you to download Chrome. There has been recent reports of all issues with Safari that comes with Mac. I don't know whether they were sorted, but if you can download and use it comfortably, fine. But if you find any challenge, just know that I'm telling you that there has been challenges comes with integrating Zotero, and that's the second thing that's needed. Third thing that is needed is you need a Word process, Word document where you're going to do it. You require that because Zotero works with MS Word, works with Google Doc very comfortably. At least you will need a word processor. It does not work with Notepad or WordPad because Notepad and WordPad are very basic. They are also not, they don't have advanced features. Now, having talked about that, I would want now to go straight to how to install Zotero and how to use Zotero. So for you to use Zotero, it's very easy. You just have to go to any browser and type www.zotero.org. Can use any browser. Let me use. I hope my screen is visible. Someone please confirm.
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay.
Although there are people complaining that you are too low, the volume.
For the volume, okay, okay. I've just increased my volume. I hope it's up. So I've just typed Zotero.org and I'm on the Zotero homepage. And this is the page that facilitates you to be able to download the Zotero. It has quite a number of features. I can just mention by passing that it has groups where people can share their Zotero data through group. You can create a group where you can be able to log in individually and share the same information. So we have that group. We also have documentation. Documentation has information regarding the user guide. After this training, you try to do something by yourself, but you're finding it hard to navigate. You're wondering what to do. You can look at the user guide. We have documentation, information regarding this software. We have forums where people share their challenges, share their experience, share issues to do with usage of Zotero. And there's also the developers of this system are also available on the forums, monitoring what is being asked, the challenges people are having, so that in case you have any challenge, you can go to the forum, search for it. You might find somebody who had the same challenge and somebody gave a solution that worked. You can use it. Failure to which the developers of the system will take it up and sort you out. You can also get involved by donating. Zotero is, it doesn't mean that they do not have cost. They also incur, of course. They also incur a lot of costs, and therefore they have a very strong backing of financiers who are international NGOs who fund the project because the project is there to assist students in research. So therefore they have that backing of donors, but anybody can actually be able to be a donor, including individuals. And logging in here, you can log into your online web library and see your library, adjust something on your online on your library without necessarily downloading. Maybe you are using a computer, somebody's computer, you want to add something to your library without downloading because it's somebody's computer. So you can go online, log in, do something, one or two things there, log out, saves there. But what we are going to emphasize today mostly is about downloading and using it on your desktop. And then we also say that Zotero provides us very basic functions that somebody can actually be able to upgrade storage by paying for it. That's enough of those features. You can actually be able to explore and see and discover by yourself more about them. Of our interest today is download. The red button in the middle takes you to the download page. Click on it. It brings you to this page where you can be able to see these three features. One of them is Zotero 5.0 for Windows, and the other one is Zotero Connector, and the last one is plugins. Now, we will have to mention these two because plugins, most of the plugins come in automatically when you download Zotero 5.0 for Windows. For most application, plugins come in automatically. Like for example, we will see the Word document has to communicate with Zotero library. The Zotero library has to communicate with the Zotero library, and therefore the plugins are important. However, we will not do plugin because they come automatically. But for Zotero 5.0 for Windows, this is the main software that downloads on your computer. And this software, as we said, works with the Mac operating system. It works with Linux, the 2 versions of Linux. So if you are downloading Zotero and your computer is running on Mac operating system, then the word Windows will be replaced by the operating system. So that's important to note. The download takes a very short time to download it. Machine. Maybe we can just start the download process. When you download an execution file, download to download folder, just click on it. When you click on that execution file, then something that you see a window showing that it's extracting the files. Be able to done with extract, and then the next process is you want to allow this, say yes. And then after that, there will be a Zotero setup wizard that appears as a screen like this. All you have to do is just to say next and next without changing any of those. Don't change the setup. Leave it to show standard. Just say next and next. I know it's doing this because I have opened Zotero on my machine. But I'm assuming that we are doing this when we don't have Zotero on our machine. And then you say next, and then it will start installation. If you had it like I have it, probably it will say upgrade because I have it. But if you didn't have it, then you'll see some processes of installation, which takes less than a minute, depending again on the speed of your internet. So I don't have to do anything, but once the installation is done, the wizard will pop up to show, or it will show finish. You just hit on finish. And once yes, and once you hit on finish, a Windows Zotero once you hit on finish, then Zotero application or the application will pop up. After you've done the installation, the Zotero application will pop up and an icon will be placed on your desktop. The icon has a Z or a Z, it has a Z feature there. You can see it here. It can be placed anywhere on the desktop. So the Z stands for Zotero. Once the installation is done, a shortcut is placed on. Of course, it installs on your drive, but a shortcut is placed on your desktop, and this pop-up window comes on, telling you that, come on, welcome to Zotero. You have just successfully downloaded the Zotero application, and therefore you can also sync to another computer, which we will do shortly. But it's just telling you that you have successfully finished downloading Zotero 5.0 for Windows. Now, so we have successfully installed this. The next thing we have to install is a connector. Now, what the connector does is that the connector launches a small icon on your browser, any browser you are using. Right now, you can see it is showing Chrome plus Z. That means This connector is connecting Zotero and Chrome. But if I was using any other browser, like Firefox, it would replace this with Firefox and this. So you can install it on any other preferred browser you use. There are some who prefer Chrome, there are some who prefer Firefox. And it causes no harm to install on both, because what they only do is whenever you are using the browser to search for information online, it communicates whatever is displayed on that browser, it communicates that to the Zotero library, which will also be seen momentarily. So let's just move to Zotero connector and install the connector. Once you hit on it, it comes like this. And instead of change, let's remove, because it's already installed. Let's remove and see how it looks when it's not there completely. Yeah. So when we hit on that download button, it will bring us here. And you say add to Chrome. When you say add to Chrome, there's some setup instruction that will come up, add extension. Then once we added extension, it should be able to download to checking, not finished, but it's supposed to take a very short time because it is not a very big extension. It's done, it has been added. How do we confirm that? If you are using Chrome, then the icon is placed within this feature called extension. If you go on the top right-hand corner where you can see my cursor, you place your cursor on that irregular shape feature. If you put your cursor there, you'll see it saying extension. Click on it, and there'll be a drop-down option showing Zotero connector. That means that the Zotero has actually been able to download successfully. For those people who are using Firefox, let's switch to Firefox. Once the installation is complete, again on the top right corner here, you will see a Z Yes, once you've successfully done that, you will see an icon. Usually it's supposed to be something like a Z. Once you click on it, it turns to be something else. It will be a Z. When you click on it, it will tell you welcome, you can start using this feature. Once you start using this feature, you turn different icons depending on what is displayed on the screen. We will also see how that keeps on changing. So after downloading that, and we've actually confirmed that the Zotero connector is installed, we actually confirmed that the Zotero application is actually available for us to use. Our Zotero library is set up. The connectors are there on all the browsers we want to use. The next thing we have to do is to open a Word document. And on the Word document, we should be able to see on the menu, on the main menu of our Word document, we should be able to see a Zotero feature. Let's open that. And the Zotero feature on the Word document should be there courtesy of the downloads we have done. And you can see, but because before you download the Zotero, you will not be able to see this Zotero here on the main menu. Here, courtesy of the downloads we have just done. We talk about plugins, and therefore the plugins come automatically when you download the main Zotero software. Now, I think we can actually confirm that our installation is complete, and we can now move forward unless we have unless we have a question. However, there is someone, Kimani. Kimani is my colleague and is in the background doing the also answering questions. If you have any question, you can actually be able to put it on the wall on the chat. However, if your question will not be noticed, please bring it at the end. We should be able to handle it. So our installation of those two features is successful, and therefore we can now start looking at how to use Zotero. Now, let's now go to our Zotero library. This is how it looks. This is the software. We say this is the main software, the main software that launches or installs on your drive. This is how it looks when it's blank. Because once you start populating materials here, the middle section here will start listing, as we shall see. But this is how it looks. Maybe we can start loading something here so that we start making sense of the library. How is it arranged? Because it's like an empty house, has no shape, has no design, has no feel. So maybe we can put something here, one or two things, then we can start making sense of how information is organized. Because as far as for now, it is blank. Allow me go to any of my browser, and I want to search for materials and see how we utilize the Zotero connector. Feed in information into a Zotero library. So let me just go to our databases. Zotero works well with all the databases. It works well with the online catalogs. It works well with University of Nairobi, all the digital repository, including our University of Nairobi repository. You can actually be able to pick information from the repository and have it into our Zotero. You can pick it from your Flash, have it in your Zotero, or from any source, any device in the Zotero library. You can actually be able to also create manually. The material you are having is purely manual and its presence on internet is missing, then we will see how to do it. I'm on the University of Nairobi website. I'm going to the library page. I hope everybody knows how to get there. On the library page, I want to look for electronic journals. Here I am. Let me look for Tasto.
Agriti, they are saying you give them a minute to finish installing.
Oh, okay.
Elizabeth, are you okay now? We still give you a minute.
Now I'm done. I've installed. Thank you.
You have installed, right?
Yes.
As for those who are installing concurrently, then yes, I know you need some space to catch up, but we need to flow together from this point. Otherwise, you'll miss out on something. I hope everybody is right, or anybody who is still installing, because we need to sail together.
We continue.
So we are done with installation. Now the next stage is to be able to feed information into a Zotero library, and we say this is how a Zotero library looks like. It's blank, but we want to feed in something so that we can make sense of it. And I'm looking for a source where I can get this information. Of course, it's advisable you use our University of Nairobi database, library databases, which are very rich, very authentic, information that you not doubt, very factual, and the source is credible. It's advisable when you are doing your research at the University of Nairobi, use our database. This is because we have filtered through existing databases to get databases that are relevant to us, that meets our programs, that are of very high quality, and we have paid for them. So don't use Google. When you are doing research, Google are for people who either do not know that these databases exist. They are not scholars. You can use Google, or you can even, I use Google sometimes, but I'm very careful on the source I get this, because I could be able to tell whether the source is genuine. If I go to Google and looking for information on COVID, and I know World Health Organization is an authority in that area, I'm good to go with Google. But you see, when you are also looking for information in an area that you don't really know how well to filter this information, you don't have to worry about that. Visit our University of Nairobi Library database, and your problem will be solved. So I am on JSTOR. Let me search for some. Let me search for diplomacy or diplomatic engagement. Maybe in Africa. Yes, now we are getting this. Quite a lot of information, 5,000 results. Quite a huge number, but we can filter that so that I want to see only materials maybe from journals. That's my interest, maybe only journals. Only journals, but I also want maybe I also want from 2016. It's also a requirement when you are doing research, you use very current materials. Current would mean not more than 5 years. But your supervisor is also well placed to advise you, because there also exist other exceptions. Supervisor should be able to guide you on how current the materials you are using. Now, our research has gone down from 5,000 to 300. It's huge, but still huge, but manageable. For the sake of this training, let us work with what is displayed on the screen. I only filtered just to make sure that what I'm bringing to my Zotero is current. Now, these materials are available to us. Now, usually, people would look at it, and if it interests you, they would hit the download PDF option. Now, when you are using Zotero, you don't have to. You will use the connector instead. It connects directly whatever is displayed here to your Zotero library. So maybe you can just open one. Of course, a very typical situation when somebody information, open it. They open it, interact with the document, see whether it is relevant. Most people have to read the apps to be able to make a decision. So once you made that decision that you actually want this work in your research, we said you don't use the download. You look for your Zotero extension or the Zotero connector. It is lying within the extension here if you're using Chrome, but if you are using Firefox, it is not in any extension, just displayed out there. So let me use this extension for Zotero. And once, the very first time I click on Zotero after installation, something will come up here. You've installed the Zotero connector. It is just a formality, just say, got it. But now, any subsequent use of the connector will not bring up that message again. It only applies for the very first time. Now, Zotero is lying within the extension, the Zotero connector, and it is symbolized by an icon showing like a page, paper or a page. That means whatever is being displayed here is an article. So this shows that it's an article. Now, we will see that change shortly, but once you are here, you just click on the connector. And once you hit on the connector, you can see it is saving to my library. And save, and it will not disappear until you say done, because it's assumed that probably after saving it in your library, maybe within the library you have other folders you might also want to save in those folders. So you're just waiting for the instructions. If you have no such instruction, just say done, and it is saved in our Zotero library. We can go there and see. Finally, we have the first document within our Zotero. You can see how it's arranged. Before we talk something about the layout here, let me go back to where we were and download some more. This is our search results. The first method I use is open one of them, the first one, and using the Zotero Connect, I was able to download it with Zotero library. But there's another option. Once you are here, probably you've seen a lot of things that, or you want to say, all these materials looks good. Maybe they are 5 or 10, and they say, let me have all of them. I'll have to look at them later. So in this case, the developers of Zotero also thought through the same way and say, fine, there's a way you can set Zotero multiple items without opening one of them. Now, so how do you go about it? Once your list of materials are displayed on your screen, you just go to your Zotero library, click on to Zotero connector, click on it. Is the connector, and you can see before even you click on it, you can see it has a yellow folder. The folder is just to show that, hey, what you're having on the screen are multiple. So it's just notifying you that it's not just one article, there are multiple sources displayed on this. Once you hit on, you click on Zotero connector, another floating window will pop up that will facilitate you to select. The Zotero item selector pops up. So it only mirrors or displays what is in the background. It's not a very different, not different material. They're just the same material displayed in the background. So it just gives you an option to choose. You can select all. You can select a few if you wish. You can select a few, and once you selected, you just say okay. And once you say okay, you will see some activities happening on your right corner here. You can see a listing of progressive listing of articles within that process. And once it's done, it is also still waiting for further instructions, which I may not have now. I will demonstrate after this, but we have all these documents already loaded in our Zotero library. And now we see we had in our Zotero library now, we are looking at our Zotero library. You can see we don't have one, like before we have quite a number. And now our library is taking shape. Now, let me talk a little bit about the segment in our that we are looking at. On the very right, left corner, left side here, we have the collection panel or the collection column. And this is where we have the main library. We can also have sub-collection. Main library is like a master file. We can create files within our library, or we can still put everything in our library in the master file. But it's also important for you to know that you can actually be able to organize your work for ease and accessibility, managing your work. So Within the library, we can actually be able to create folders in our library. So, please mute. You are distracting. Please, somebody.
Mohammed, please mute.
Now, so we are talking about this left-hand side column, and here you can be able to use this yellow feature on top here to add folders and subfolders within. You can just click on it. If you hover your cursor on top, see new collection, and once you click on it, something will come up on your screen, a window for you to name the collection, the name, to give the folder a name. So maybe you can say our work is on diploma. And once you do that, you can see under the library we have diploma. Blank because we haven't loaded anything directly from the net. We have put everything in our master file. You can put another folder as well. Let's call this one question studies. This one we call. So these are folders lying within the library. But even within the folders themselves, you can also have sub-folders within the folders. How do you do that? You just click on the main folder and you can right-click it. And when you right-click it, show new sub-collection. Maybe we can call this foreign relations. And you can now see how it is taking shape. That we have the library is carrying folders, and the subfolders, the folders are carrying sub. You can organize your work so in folders. Now, in the middle here, it's important to talk about that. The middle panel here shows the title, creator, and the date. Creator are like authors, but because of the changes, a lot of changes that are coming in terms of the resources available, not everything is authored. These materials are authored, but you could be having maps which are not authored, drawings which are not authored. Therefore, they looked for an embracing name called creator. Creator is like an author in our case. And then we have the date. For those people, there are some people who might download and they don't see the date here. Just know that you can determine what you want to see here. How do you do that? There's a feature hidden at the corner within that middle panel. There's a feature at the corner here. If you click on it, you can see drop-down options that allows you click on what you want to see. The date, if you click on it, you can see the date. If you want, for example, the item type, you can be able to do that. But usually it's advisable to make it very minimal because we don't want to crowd it so much. Easier visibility of important information, just leave it at minimum of 3. Title, author, and the date is enough here. Unless you think displaying something additionally is crucial. So the middle side here will show the title and the creator and the date. We usually say that these are the very important. We say that these are the most important element of any resource material. If, for example, you cite your work as a title, surely, I mean, nobody will take it seriously. Or it has the author missing, unless you have a justification to show that this material is so important, but the author is missing, fine. But most materials comes with it. because authorship can also be an indication of on how authoritative materials are. The date is also important. You know, date would actually tell somebody how current the materials you are using are. Therefore, date is very important. Now, having said something about that, on my right here is what we call the metadata segment or panel. Now, all these materials displayed in the middle are broken down into fields. These fields that are captured in the middle here. Now, this side will show you all the areas or the fields, the description of this item that is highlighted in the middle. So a lot of things: item type, title, author, abstract if it's there, publication, volume number, issue number if it's important, page, the pages and the year, all this. Now, it's important for you to know that this segment is editable, can be edited, because these materials came from internet. Internet has so much information, and whoever is putting it on internet does not know how the materials are going to be used. So therefore, they would just place the materials without really looking at any format. Anybody can put anything on internet, remember. Now, Zotero is not able to go into your document and edit, and therefore it gives you an option of editing it. For example, all of us would be having an idea on which citation style our department or school or faculty uses. The citation style will tell you how, for example, to format your document, how to cite your document. But no citation style tell you, for example, the author, like in this case, the author's name should be capitalized. No citation style says so. No citation style would have the title capitalized, all of it. None. Because I've seen quite a lot. So that means, in this case, as much as you have this document, you want to use it in your work, it's upon you to look at it, evaluate it, and see whether the information captured are the right format. So in this case, what I can do, I can go into that and retype. We say this section is editable. I've changed that. I can go in and type that again, but remember, if you are comfortable with that, please just edit it. But for those people who have some idea on how to go about and they're comfortable with it, there is also another option that can globally change, automatically change I can actually change and if it's in capital letters, you can actually change the small letters. So, and in this case, what we need to do without clicking on it, the way I'm clicking, you just put your cursor on top without right clicking. You put your cursor on top and right click. You don't do the left, you do the right. Put your cursor on top like this and right click. But giving us, yeah, like this. Instead of clicking on the title, put the cursor on top, right click, and it will give you an option of title case or sentence case. So in this case, we can say, if you say sentence case, it will drop all the uppercase, small cases, lowercase. Okay, so if you do that, it will be able to. Let me just click on like this one, and I do what I've just said. I've clicked on the first article, and I'm trying to imagine that the whole title is in uppercase. I put my cursor there and say sentence case. It will drop if it was capitalized, it will drop into small letters. I'm realizing it can do that on the authors because it has another function here. The function here is to, in this case, we can only be able to do it manually for the authors. After doing that, you can, the only option you have here, if you realize that the surname is not coming first, it's coming second, you can just right click on it and you can say swap names and the names will be swapped. The first will come second and the second will come first. So having done some editing, and you can see this, I've just been able to demonstrate that this column can actually be able to edit. You can look at it. If there's an error, you can do that. If, for example, some materials would come with gaps, you can actually be able to fill in the gaps. For example, if for example, this article came without the date, you can see a gap here, came without the date, and we think the date is important, we might want to go and revisit this article from before. Because that we can actually be able to confirm whether the source actually has the date or not. So how do I go about it? So for you to go online and get the source and be able to capture the date, you just double click on the article itself in the middle here, and the source will open from any browser you have. Taking quite some time, but it shouldn't. It should, but doesn't. Yeah, it has actually opened this. So it should go to the source, and you can be able to look at the document and see whether this item had the date. Only that the loading of this item into our Zotero library failed to capture some materials or areas. Like this is 2017. So I can say that this is 2017. I can go back to my article, where the date field is, and say 2017, and my date will have been captured. So that's how you fill in the gap. You go to the source, get the actual material, but most gaps do not come through because most materials are well indexed online. But we have some databases that I'm realizing has some problem with integrating with Zotero, but there are not many. There are very few. Most of them are very standardized. You will get most of the material. But just know what the point I'm going to highlight is, if there are any gaps, the gaps will reflect on your final citation and your final reference. And therefore, you need to plug in the gaps. Otherwise, your citation and referencing will not be complete. Now, I think I have made sense of that, how to get material from online. Online could mean you could use our databases. Some people would use Google Scholar, which is better than Googling. You can use Google Scholar, but still Google Scholar will still take you to the original place of the material. So Google will direct you there. Google Scholar will direct you there. Therefore, using our database is something you might not be able to avoid if you want quality work. So we have talked about how to get these materials from the web. Let's see how else can you get these materials. You can get these materials from other sources. One of the sources is, rather than go directly to search online, perhaps I have a book here, and this book, I don't know whether it's online, but when at this particular point, I can be able to use, I don't know whether you guys can see this second feature that looks like a pen, the plus size. Now, if you click on it, you'll be asked to enter the ISBN or digital object identifier or PIMID number for those who are using PIMID databases. Now, these are unique identifiers. Using, for example, the ISBN, Zotero is able to go online, fetch the material, feed it into a Zotero library. Now, let me just put one of the ISBN of an item I have at hand. So this is a book I'm having at hand. I've just entered the ISBN and then enter. It has gone online, fetch the material, and reloaded to a Zotero library. It is a book on health and inequality by Curtis. Actually here, and I can see that it is. It's complete. Now, once again, when you are loading in here, you will realize that some of these icons coming before the title are different. The first three, for example, are articles. You can see the icons are here. The fourth one is a book. You can see it gives you an icon reflecting a book. The same icons will be reflected when you are using Zotero connector. So just know that you can be able to search for the unique identifier. We call them unique identifiers, the ISBN or DOI number here. Gets online, fetches them, and logs them here directly. Have an item at hand which you want to use. The other option is to do it manually. Maybe you have this book or these materials that is missed, that is actually the online presence of this material is not there. It's not anywhere. And therefore, you cannot be able to integrate it into Zotero using the net. So in that case, what do? You can do it manually. There's an option of doing things manually here because they are trying to imagine that not everything is digital, not everything is online. Maybe I have a book that I'm using and I want to integrate it here in my work. So I will use this first icon showing a green with a plus sign in the middle. If you click on it, it gives you book selection, document, journal, article, newspapers. And if you go to more, it will give you more lists. It is simply asking you, you want to enter something manually. What is it? The item type. Is it a book? Is it a journal article? Is it a map? Software? So it's upon you to indicate so that it can give you the corresponding fields, or the most important fields to fill depending on the item. So let me just say, maybe a book section is a chapter. So maybe let me just say a book. Once you click on it, you can see it is listed here, but blank. It's requiring you to just enter on the right panel here. You have to enter those details. What's the title of the book? Let me say it's called Research Methods. This title as the title and the subtitle, and the author. Let me quote on what we know very well. Who publishes first published material on that agenda. I'm just giving an example. I don't have any reference. Agenda. The first name is Olive. And let me try to imagine. I don't have the book here, but I'm just trying to imagine. I'm trying to remember what it is. Second edition. Essay place was published in Nairobi. Publisher, I can't tell you the publisher. Let me just, for the sake of learning, let me publisher or something. The date, let me say 2010. That's 2003. But let's put that for now. pages, let me assume that it could be like 312 pages. The Isbn, if I have the Isbn, I will put it there. Isbn for Kenya starts with 996. I can guess the other field, the other ones until they get to 10. But this is more. This is for a book. A book doesn't necessarily have an URL unless it's an electronic book. The rest of the fields can be, you only fill the fields that apply to the book or to the material. Because for a book, it's not a requirement that you must have a volume like journal articles. It's not a requirement that you fill the URL because not all of them are found online. So basically, we have built that one. At least we have a book in our collection of materials. So we have now seen how, for example, to load materials both from our browser as well as by searching through our unique identifier using this second feature, and by using this first feature to do it manually. Those are ways. The last one, the last approach to feeding or to loading in data is through drag and drop. Drag and drop. Maybe I have this material saved somewhere on my desktop or somewhere else on the flash. I can, so long as I'm able to see the source and the destination, I can be able to drag and drop. For instance, let me pick something here. This material on my desktop here. I want to drop it to the library. I can either drop it to the library, for example, you can say drop it to the library. And once you drop it to the library, it comes like this. You can see how it is. It loads in as a PDF. And something interesting happens. Maybe you can repeat that. Let me delete that. And just, I want you to watch very careful on what will happen. I will drag from the source, the destination. And once you drop something there, whatever the last activity that has happened in the library will be highlighted in the middle. It's highlighted. And on this side, in the very initial stage, it will not make sense because these are PDF material, it will be blank here. But what Zotero does, it goes online within a split of a second. It gets the metadata of that particular PDF document and loads it. So, let me pick that again. You drop it to the library, or let's put it in one of the folders. Put in the folder, you can see it doesn't make sense here. It's blank. But within a very short time, it populates all the fields because it gets the data from online. This activity can only happen if you are online. If you're not online, you might not be able to do this. However, it's good to know that there are some activities that you can do offline. That actually much of it, we did do them offline. You only use online if you are getting materials from online, or you are trying to replace some articles, or you are dragging and dropping PDF files. Because if you're not online, they will load, but they'll be blank on this right panel. It will be blank. We not make any sense. And when you use it, it will have. So I think that demonstration is now for you to explore further, but it's good to know that you can actually be able to get materials from different sources, arrange them in folders and subfolders. You can actually be able even to move materials from the main library to the subfolders. How do you do that? I've pressed the control so that I can pick a number, control, and control on my keyboard. I've pressed it, and then I selected while the control button is down, like that. Then release it. then I can be able to drag again and drop into a folder. No, it has not done it. It has not done it. Let me just drag and drop. Yeah, they are there now. So you can drag from any folder to another one. Make sure that your work is more. And when we have any duplicates, you can click on the duplicates. We'll highlight all the duplicates present. And so long as it is of the same item type, like all of them are journals, you can merge them. The only difficult part is if one is a journal and the other one is a book, you might have a problem because Zotero is not able to organize them as one because they are different item types. And so as long as they are the same item type, you can be able to merge them into one. Once you merge, I don't know why it's hanging. It has merged, and therefore, if I click on duplicate, you can see there are no duplicates because all the duplicates have been merged. Now, I think we've made enough sense of organizing information within our Zotero application. We've seen how, for example, how you can organize that into folders and subfolders, merge duplicates. We've seen how, for example, you can be able to change the settings so that you can see certain information in the middle here, how to identify gaps, how to fill in the gaps or the dents, how to edit, we have seen that, how to edit manually, we have seen that. I think that's enough for that particular part. The next part is now demonstrate how research and how Zotero will come into once you have started doing it. Because I'm assuming you've gone online to get materials, you've now gathered them into one place. The way that guy, when we started at the beginning, we showed that guy in a research environment and he has a lot of materials around him. He didn't know how to go about that. Now, this is now where the Zotero comes into play. So let's open our Word document, the Word document. And on our Word document, you can be able to see Zotero is actually there. This is Zotero. Now, let me get something to write something. Let me use the document I'm displaying right now. I'm using this. Let me use this document. I have gone online, read something, picked out what I want from that document. Maybe I've been reading this and I've captured this paragraph. I need this paragraph or a section of the document within my research work. So I'm trying to imagine maybe somebody has captured that through copy paste into the Word. Maybe this is what you have copied online. So because this is what you copied, you don't need to use it the way it is. Otherwise, you'll be accused of plagiarism. Assuming that I've copied this, what I'll need to come and do is paraphrase what I've copied. This is what I've paraphrased from this statement. And after that paraphrasing, I don't need the one I've copied. I will use what I have paraphrased, putting it in my own words. But even after doing this, I'll still need to acknowledge the source. And Zotero will help me. Let's try to imagine for a moment that this document came from a source we already have in our Zotero library. All I have to do is to revisit that library through this feature on our menu up here. So what I need to do is to place the cursor where I want to insert citation, the cursor is there, and I hit on Zotero. I click on the Zotero menu, Zotero menu feature there, and then there'll be a sub menu showing add edit citation, add edit below. Let's start with the first, because that's what we want to use now. Add edit citation. We want to add citation there. We'll use this first one on it. Now, the very first time you do it, this window will pop up. But don't worry, it will not disturb you so much because it will not happen again. It is simply telling you, asking you, this is a new document. Writing on. What is the most preferred, the preferred citation for this document? Then you say, I'm going to use APA, and it's going, Zotero is going to assume that for the rest of this document, it is APA that is going to do. So after that, that window goes, this one comes up. There's a red window here. This is a search box. Floating red search box is where you are going to type what you are looking for within our Zotero library. Now, let me go to my Zotero library and just pick a name. Let me pick somebody called Costa. Or no, let me use local one of Pondo. I am on my document here. I am ready to, I put my cursor where I want to put a citation, gone to Zotero, clicked on add edit citation. This floating window comes for me to type. Maybe I can remember the source and say this is Opondo. And I can see all the Opondos existing stay down there for me to choose. I just say choose. When I say choose, it gives me the author or the authors and the year of publication. All I have to do is to, after this, I only have to hit the enter button on my keyboard, and my citation is included in. Now, maybe it will get clear as we demonstrate further. Let's go to this other one, assuming that we also got this paragraph from the net. The way it is, I have come here, attempted to paraphrase, and then I don't need the original statement as extracted or pasted from the net. So I'm assuming that I have paraphrased this successfully, but even after paraphrasing, I need to put some acknowledgement. Let me say it is here where I want to put my citation. Once again, I go to Zotero and I go to add edit citation. This box will come up. I type what I can remember. Sometimes you might remember the author or the title. Sometimes you might not remember, or you can remember the topic. We've been searching a lot on diplomacy. Maybe let me check whether we have anything on diplomacy. You can see, because I can remember what we are putting in our library, the Zotero library is on diplomacy. I could be able to figure it out and type that. And actually, it's the same document as the first one. But I want to use a different one. Maybe let's go to the Zotero library. Oh, let's use the one we created manually, Mugenda. Once you do Mugenda, you can see the Mugenda we did manually. There, we can pick that. And once you enter, your citation is captured. Now, it's important to know that there are various ways you can cite your work. You can either cite at the end of the document, what we call parenthetical citation, where you utilize parentheses at the end of the work. But there is also another way you can cite within the text. As you argue your case, you can incorporate the citation into the And we've seen that a lot from various sources. Now, let me use that particular perspective on this other illustration. This is from the net, I don't need it. I've paraphrased. I want to cite the source. So I can say, for example, instead of putting it at the end, I put it in the beginning or in the text, what we call narrative citation. I can put the cursor where I want to put citation within the text. Once I've done that, I'll start my argument, maybe as noted by. As noted by, and then I want to insert citation. Once again, I go to our menu here there. I look for add edit citation. Once that is done, we have this floating window. I can type what I can remember. Can I remember something else? Maybe I can. But if you can't remember anything, Zotero also has accommodated you. Not everybody can remember the source or anything about the source. But if you are given, if you are shown like this, you can say, here it is. So in this case, we will not type anything, but we will use this drop-down feature. There's a drop-down arrow pointing down. When you click on it, it gives you these two options. One of them is keep sources sorted. The other one is classic. For the classic view, would like bring your Zotero library to be displayed here on this. So I can say classic view, and once you do that, you can see a window representing our Zotero library. You can see this window. So what I can do is I can be able to pick it from here, which is easier because I can see. So maybe I can pick this one and say, okay. And once you do that, you can see the source is there. As noted by M Africa 2019, comma. William Shakespeare was born, blah, blah. Anyway, this guy, M Africa, has nothing to do with Shakespeare, but I'm just doing it for demonstration on how you can insert citation. Now, unlike before, when we were putting our citation at the end, here we are putting it within the text. Within the text. And if you are putting it within the text, there's another requirement for most citations that you can not put everything in brackets. If you are doing it at the end, everything goes into brackets, and Zotero well understands that. But Zotero is not able to know this is at the beginning or this is at the end. Maybe they might improve on that. So in this case, you have some minor editing to do. When you are citing within the text, you remove the parentheses from the author. You only put a year, and if we have pagination, only the year and pagination will be put in brackets. So it will read that as noted by M Africa, 2019 is the only thing that is bracketed. And you can actually be able to adjust that like that without affecting the formatting of Zotero. So far where we are, we can tell that this is Zotero generated, this is Zotero generated, because when you click on it in Word document, it turns gray. You can also see this is Zotero formatted, even though we remove the bracket beginning and only bracketed the. Now, another approach, because now things are taking shape, assuming that we got this from another source, can say differentiation, for example, according to. There are various ways you can vary how you are introducing the argument. According to, as argued by, as observed by, you can play about with that, because even some supervisors don't want the monotony of using the same words. So differentiation according to, I want to put the author there. Once the citation there, once the cursor is there, I go to Zotero, I go to add edit citation, hit on it. Zotero is here. Perhaps this time around, I may not be able to remember anything, but I can remember when I see. So I click on this arrow, gives me classic view. Here I am looking at my Zotero library from where I am. Now, maybe this time around, I want to pick multiple sources. The same, different authors have said the same thing. Or maybe I also want to include pages. So in this case, let me start with how do you put multiple sources within the citation? You must use, you can use the classic view that will bring you here. You can pick the first one. Actually, you can pick any, but before even that, you can say what you want to do is multiple sources. Once you click multiple sources, a small panel will appear here. Like a small basket to fit what you're looking for. So you will pick, like picking from the shelf of the supermarket and dropping it to the shopping basket. So you'll have to pick like this, highlight it. There's an arrow showing, green arrow showing this side that you can pick that and dropping. You can come pick this other one and use the arrow to drop it here. And pick this other one with an arrow and drop it here. And once you do that, all you have to do is just say, okay. Now, so what okay will do, it will insert the citations that we have back. Now, this citation, as you can see it here, when you are having multiple citations like this, because of the idea of only putting the date and the pages in bracket alone, when you are doing it within the text, then it becomes more complicated. That's why you'll see most works that are citing multiples, put the multiple sources at the end. In this case, the right place is, but if it was one or two, you can comfortably put them in the text. That's what. Lastly, the last demonstration we are having right now is about how to add a page, because for some supervisors, they would insist that you also, beside putting the author and the year, you also need to include the page. So pages are important when it comes to books, because sometimes you find online journals. If it's a journal that's existing online, because yet it was generated what we call born online. It means it was typed and published. But there are some that were existing in a book in a physical form as a booklet and then digitized. So in that case, because it has been digitized, there are pages. So or any book that has been published has pages. So in this case, mentioning the page would be important when it comes to some supervisors. And Zotero also helps on that. What you simply have to do, put your cursor in the location where you want to insert. And once again, where you want to insert a citation, go to Zotero, add edit citation. Now, you can even do it from here, where you look for an author, maybe it's called Kutis. And Kutis is there. I can say this is the guy. But before exiting or entering using the enter button, if you click on this information, it will give you drop-down option that allows you to put pages. Maybe this is page 3. Once you see that, you can see the citation is there, Curtis, 2004, page 20. Or you can also have it using Zotero again, add edit citation. Instead of typing it here, you can go to classic view that allows you to pick and put pages where that text was derived from that book. Like, let me imagine it's page 12. I can call page 112. And once you do that, you say, okay, my citation will be here showing the author, the year, and the pagination. So whichever case you prefer, your work will be done like this. Is now enough citations for us to demonstrate. This has it came from that source, this came from this source, came from this source, unless there's another citation dictating otherwise within this text. This could be from this source. This is from this source, and this is also from this last source we put at the end. Now you see the sources. When you click on the citation, you can see it is turning color. That means these citations have been programmed or has been formatted for Zotero. Now, let me assume that I've come to the end of my work, of my typing, of my work, of my project. How does Zotero help me to generate the references? That is the easier part. It does that in a blink of an eye. All you have to do, put the cursor where you want the references. Okay? You can give it a title and say, usually most supervisors say you put on another page. References on another page. Let me say this is the page for references. It says that the title need not to be in capital letters, so, but I can bold that. Yes. Put the cursor where I want to insert my references. Go to Zotero. This time I will not use add edit citation. I will say add edit bibliography. And once you hit on that, the references will be generated automatically. And there we have the references. Because Zotero is like it. What Zotero does, it goes into your text and detects the citations you've used. Using the citations you have used through the Zotero library, it is able to detect them and generate the references according to the citation style we have, which is in this case is APA. You can see APA is also doing it in the hanging indentation. You can see this hanging indentation. So this is according to APA. Now, just in case I want to change from one citation style to another one, it's also very easy. Just have to go to Zotero, and this time I'll go to not these two, but document preference, and I can be able to change the citation style I am using. Maybe this time round, I want to use, let me see. I want to use maybe Chicago manual style. And once you change to Chicago manual style, you can see the citation style will change. Instead of having those APA in brackets, it is having what we call superscript numbers. And most of you must have seen this when you are reading, you see numbers, you wonder what it's all about. They are citations. Chicago uses these superscript numbers to reflect the footnote. So footnote 1 here, the source is here. Footnote number 5 here, the source is here. So this is, you can change from one citation style to another one. This is the footnote. But But again, it will pick footnote from page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and combine that into a whole reference at the end. And the reference is here according to the citation style I have. Can go back to APA and we'll change. Let me move that. I can remove this and generate it again. No. I can put the reference here by just clicking on add edit citation according to APA, and it's there. That is very easy to do. So just know that whenever like we have a problem generated, if we have an erroneous, article or source in the Zotero library, that error will still be captured at reference stage. So that's why it's important you correct any error before you. But if there's an error, like for example, you realize, let me assume that you realize something is missing or something has not been captured well. If you change it here, well and good, it will change. But once you close this document and open again, it will go back to default as it were as generated by Zotero. So what are you supposed to do? You make any change that you need. Like for example, let me just say an error I've just captured very fast. Kenya. Kenya is a proper noun. You capitalize K. K has not been captured. So if I change to Kenya here like that, I close the machine and open again. Let me remove this and put another Kenya, you can see still coming, because that error, if I change any error here, is very superficial. It's just here, it's very shallow. It's only here that the change will be reflected. Once you close and open, or once you refresh, it will go back to the as captured. So the best thing to do is to change that Kenya from Zotero library. This guy is called Yenye. We go to our Zotero library, look for Yenye. Here it is, and we look for the title here, Kenya. Kenya in capital letters. Yeah, we start Kenya with a capital letter as a proper noun. Once that is done, if I go back to my Word document, Kenya is still like this. I only have to refresh. You can either refresh, or if you think it is going back, like right now, it's dropping down a different format that is not a double space and no hanging indentation. You can move and create another one. And Kenya will come in capital letters. I mean, as a proper noun, you can see how even this new US administration can also be done, be fixed, and the title is called US administration. Is a country, therefore you need to have it in capital letters. The initial US administration. Once that is done and you've exited, you only have to come here, refresh. My computer is having some, I think it's a problem of settings, but this one should not occur on your side. You just refresh and the changes will need to be captured. But you can see mine, because of the formatting I had done on the document, it is this is APA, right? But it's not very compliant because it is not double space and it doesn't have the hanging indentation. So I can just remove it and put a new one. a new one. Now, this time it will show US. Now, I know we have demonstrated this. Some people might have followed, but some people I know they might also do more just to learn more. But in a nutshell, that's how, for example, you generate the references. Now, there is another thing I also want to highlight before we start walking the journey towards the end of this session. Maybe I'm reading this article online on JSTOR, and I want to use this. Let me look for something else that is probably in. Let me look for something that's probably in HTML. All of them are in PDF. Let me open it, please. I can't. Okay. Let me go to. Okay. This is okay. This is okay. It's showing something in an abstract. Perhaps I'm reading this and I want to capture some information here. Maybe I'm just reading on my own, but I want to mark sections of this article without losing the specific areas I want to capture. Maybe I don't want to write immediately, but I'm just doing my reading. I'm reading and I'm saying, this is a nice document. And this document is very rich is very rich for use in my research. Maybe this is the statement, or maybe it's a whole paragraph. Like, let me say maybe a number of paragraphs. Let me say from here to here. I'm just trying to imagine. And this information is very important. And you don't want to start your research immediately. Just like reading a book, you don't want to continue. You want to put a bookmark, know where you are, or you want to highlight a section that looks interesting in your book. Therefore, you can highlight it. You can put a sticker. You can put something to it. The same innovation can be used when you are using Zotero. You are reading this from the source. The first thing you will do is to make the item available in your Zotero library. Just by going here, clicking on the extension if you are using Chrome, and clicking on Zotero connector, and it will be saved into my Zotero library. If I go in the Zotero library, I can see it there. Sitting here, highlighted, this is the most recent one, it's here. However, after doing this, there's a bit of, because I'm not interested in the whole article, I'm only interested in some part. And this is the part I'm interested in, but I don't want to start writing. Some people, a most ingenious way is to capture this, copy this, Zotero library. Here it is. Yes, Zotero library, and you can go to a section called notes. We are on info. You can go to notes. When you add notes, it gives you a blank space where you can be able to paste the notes. The note is attached to the information. The note is existing here. This note corresponds to this. And even the middle page here, the middle section here, you can see this being the article itself, and this being a note. A folder here like this shows that the note attached to it. You can see the parent-child relationship here. Something, this one is dented, is actually under. So even by looking at this, you can know we have some notes. And go to the notes, you can see it here. Or if you open the document like this, the notes are resting here. So when it comes to your work, when you started typing your work and you remember that there's something interesting you had captured here, you can just come here, pick this, run with it to your Word document, paraphrase it, and you are done. So you can also explore that. We might not be able to do everything today, but explore further, follow up further on that, you can always come whenever you have any issue, and we can be able to sort you out. The very last bit is I want to demonstrate how you can sync your Zotero library across different devices. Now, this is my Zotero library. I have this. But personally, I already have an account with Zotero.org. So I don't have to create, but for you as students, you can create the account at Zotero.org. Let's go online. Here we are. This is Zotero.org. You just say login. And because you do not have an account, you can't log in. In your case, you need to register for a free account. You say register, you put the username. You can register using your email. Put your username, what you want to know you as. Put the email address there. Confirm your email address. Put a password. Confirm the password. And then confirm that you are a human being by checking this box and doing the necessary. Just know that the email address can be any email address you check, because it is important that Zotero is a free software. So it's not coming to us courtesy of University of Nairobi. Therefore, you can use any email, as long as this email is important for logging in, or whenever you forget the password and you want to set it, then your email address will facilitate that. You come here and say forget, then it say send it to your email. So you will do that. Once you've done that, then you'll be able to. Now, assuming that you have created this and you have received notification on your email that you're already a member of Zotero, you've confirmed, and then you are ready to go. How do you log in? To put the data in, or assuming that I have created my online library, I've created my online account. All I have to do is to come on this page, come on top here after file, we have edit. File and edit, click on edit, and you go to preference. After you say preference, a page like this will pop up. If it is resting, the default is resting anywhere else, put it at sync. Put it at sync, and then you can be able to log in. Let me just log in and demonstrate how you go about it. Okay. I'm logging in. Yes, I've logged in, and you can see my corrupted name is there. It's saying unlink account. It's asking me, do I want to log out? So if you see unlink, it's saying I am already logged in as this person. Do I need to log out? No, I want to demonstrate something. Okay, I have logged into my Zotero web library, but there's something else I've not done. I've not synced the tools. It means making my online library available here so that I'm working on it, or I am done. I have made some changes here. I want those changes loaded to the cloud on the web library. I will do that. So syncing facilitates, syncing ensures that the data on both sides is uniform, so that if I close one, I have the other one. So I have logged in, but I have not synced. So for the syncing to begin, when I'm on this page, I only have to hit one button and it will be done. And the button is found at the far top right-hand side here. I can see a green semicircular arrow here. If you click on it, then the syncing begins. goes around. While it's going down, you'll see on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, some activities. Now, what it's doing, it is loading my web library, which I already had here. And while it's loading, everything will be available here so that I can continue working. If I'm doing research, I have all my library available for me writing my. It will go around like this. When it's done, it will stop. Now, assuming that I've been working, it has loaded, I'm done, I'm ready to go. And probably I'm using a computer that is at the place of work. Maybe I want to make sure that I clean everything.
Hello, Angry.
Yes.
Allow me to interrupt. Kindly try to speed up because I can see people are leaving. And we are now at overflow. It's already 12 past 12. Look for a way of concluding so that people don't leave and leave us talking alone.
I'm actually finishing because I am closing this from syncing. When you are syncing, you are making sure that whatever is online comes here and whatever is here loads on your web library. So what I only need to do is, I've been working and I'm done. I want to close this computer. I'll simply go to files and go to edit and go to preferences. Once on my preferences, I say, because my account is open, I'll just say unlink account. Once you say unlink account, is the other version of logging out. But this logging out is disconnecting the communication between those two, my Zotero library on my drive here and my Zotero online library. Now, I want to unlink the account, but before I do that, I want to ask Zotero to clean whatever is here by removing my Zotero data from this computer. And say okay, and when I say okay, it will disappear, Zotero will disappear and come back fresh, clean, with nothing. So that means my data is loaded. When I come next time, I just log into Zotero. And once I've logged it in, I can be able to bring my data here, and then I can continue. That is simple, the simple way of syncing your data. Just sync it and you start loading your stuff. Now, I think as it loads this, I think I bring this meeting to this training to an end. I had timed it to start go for 2 hours, and I was coming to an end. Only that it started a little bit late. So, but this is the very basic of how you work with Zotero. It is good for you to explore further to see how it works. And in case you have any problem, we are there to support you. I did not learn Zotero in one sit. I did quite a number for me to understand how it works. It's a very useful tool that you will find very useful while doing your research. I believe that I think I've talked about most of the things I needed to talk about. So unless we have a question, I will end my training here and back to Mercy.
Thank you so much, Agre. You all believe that this is quite an intensive kind of training, and as he has said, he never did it in a day. And I want to reiterate that say, we also cannot exhaust Zotero training in one session or 2 or 3 sessions. We need to be here many times. And I believe this is maybe the 3rd or 4th time we are bringing this training. So keep checking for many more trainings. And I want to apologize for the time overflow. We are at 12:09. But if you allow me, I'll give 5 minutes for any question that has not been addressed in our chat box, and our trainer would be very much willing to address that. Kindly, if there is any question you feel it is not attended to, allow me just 5 minutes and you could be answered. Thank you so much. Well.
Yes, somebody is asking, maybe I can just, I don't know whether, no, it has not been answered. Can you use both Zotero and Mendy at the same time in one article? No, it has to be one, because within the article, the citations are formatted for one software. You can't use for one. Now, for those students who have developed their research towards the end, they're almost finished, and they've done the citation manually, then you have to go back and feed the same information you did manually to Zotero for it to generate again the. So in this case, I tell you, if you almost at the end, you'll be doing manually, finish manually. That's what I can say. We have, can you use cite anywhere within the sentence? Yes, so long as it makes sense. At the end, it's good, but in the middle, you have to make the sentence flow within the citation, as we have shown. Any other, if you have any other question, you can ask. But I thought it's important I mentioned those ones because I had seen it. We shall share the recordings, and we shall also be having more trainings on this. We usually have it at least a month, at least within a month, or sometimes twice a month, depending on the demand. We usually have this. So if you are somewhere and you feel like you need to do another training, just to checking your email, we shall be broadcasting that on any upcoming training on this. So it looks like nobody has a question. Back to Mercy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Elegwa, for that quite insightful training. And because I think everybody seems satisfied, I wish to declare that we are almost coming to a close of this session. Now, I believe that some of the questions that were recited in our last week's training, when we were training on academic simulating, there was a question about APA referencing style, and I believe that question has been answered in this session. I also want to say that on Friday, we are having another training on Turn 18. Kindly keep checking, and you are welcome on board on Friday. And unless there is anything else that my colleague, Dr. Catherine, would want to comment before I close this meeting. Dr. Catherine, kindly, if there is anything, come on board quickly.
No, I don't have much to say because everything has been done actually, because all the chat questions have been responded to, and the presentation was very good. It was clear, and from the people's response, it was people are happy, and when you're happy, we are happy. So thank you very much. Have a good weekend, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chege. And I want at this juncture to thank our corporate, we want to thank our corporate office for advertising our trainings timely. In fact, they are the ones who facilitate, who allow you to come into these trainings. If they are not advertised by our corporate office, they would not be possible. Therefore, much thanks to our corporate office. I also want to thank the Lease Department for the way they have continued being on foot as far as this training is concerned. And of more, and I want to thank our trainers, Mr. Angry and David Kimani. Thank you so much. You have been very resourceful as far as this training is concerned. And then finally, I want to thank our participants. Thank you so much for coming on board, because if you don't come on board, we would not have people to train. And I also want to thank the training committee that sits and planned for these trainings, headed by Dr. Catherine Chege. I am in that committee. My name is Dr. Waithaka. I want to thank Kemita Wawero and Team Ziuka. They are of very much help as far as organizing, scheduling, and planning these trainings is concerned. And without wasting much time, I want to bring this meeting to a closure and invite you on Friday to another insightful training on Turn 18, which is our similarity checker tool. And I hope and I look forward to seeing you there. I wish to hand over this virtual podium to Tim Zuka. He knows how he closes this meeting. And until then, I have been your MC, Dr. Mercy Waithaka. We will share the recordings with you, and in our library website, we upload how to do videos, we upload what we have trained on, and you'll be able to find some of these recordings in our library website. Thank you so much. You are dismissed. Ready to see you on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank
Tim.
you.
Timothy, send us off with your music so that we are not bored as we leave.